I've been teaching you that when we move something to the other side of the equal sign, it changes its sign. So when we move plus 4 to the other side of the equal sign, it actually becomes a minus 4. If we have a minus 4 on this side of the equal sign and we move it to the other side, it becomes a plus 4. If we were multiplying by 4x on this side and we move the 4 to the other side, it becomes a divide on the other. And if we had a x divided by 4 on one side of the equal sign and we moved it to the other, it became a multiply. I'd like to go through this and explain it one more time. Exactly why does this work? Okay, so x plus 4, I don't want to know what x plus 4 equals, I want x by itself. So the technique is to move the 4 to the other side of the equal sign, and when I do so, it actually changes sign. So x equals 2 minus 4, the plus 4 moves to the other side of the equal sign and becomes minus 4. So x equals minus 2. Here we have x minus 4 equals 2. So when we move the 4 to the other side of the equal sign, we will get x equals 2 plus 4, the minus, move to the other side, turns into a plus. So x equals 2 plus 4, therefore x equals 6. X divided by 4 equals 2, so when we move the 4 to the other side, it was divide on this side of the equal sign, it will turn to multiplied by 4 on the other side. X equals 2 multiplied by 4, which equals 8. 2 4s are 8, so x equals 8. 4 lots of x equals 2, so we're changing the side of the 4, so it becomes a divide on the other side of the equal sign, so x equals 2 divided by 4, which equals a half. And this technique, once you get used to it, actually saves you a lot of time. Let's look into why is it true that that we can do it this way, that we always know that the sign is going to change. Well, if we were to look at this equation again, x plus 4 equals 2. We know that we need to get all the numbers on one side and all of the letters on the other. So what we have to do is get x by itself. The easiest way to get x by itself is to get rid of this 4 here. And we're allowed to do whatever we want to the equal sign as long as we do the same thing to both sides. So the easiest way to get rid of this 4 is to subtract 4 from this side of the equals. If I subtract 4 here, I actually get rid of the 4 because 4 minus 4 is 0. If I subtract 4 to this side of the equal sign, I have to do it to the same. You have to think of it as being a scale that you've got to balance. If I take away 4 from the left-hand side, I have to take away 4 from the other side. This then gives me that x equals 2 minus 4. This 4 minus 4 turns into 0, so that sort of disappears, and equals 2 minus 4, which is minus 2. So we get the same answer by using the technique of subtracting 4 from both sides of the equal sign. But we save a lot of time if we can just remember that whenever we move something from one side of the equal sign to the other, we change the sign. This plus 4 here ended up being a minus 4, and this step we can sort of jump over. So this is the benefit of remembering that. Let's look at x minus 4 equals 2 then. We want to get rid of the minus 4, so the easiest way to do that is to add 4 to both sides of the equal sign. Here I get 4 plus 4 minus 4. This one turns to 0, leaving me x by itself on this side, and 2 plus 4 equals 6. So we get the same answer here as we got the way that I showed you the other way, but we can realize that we can skip over this step here if we can just remember that when we move the minus 4 to the other side of the equal sign, it turns into a plus 4. Let's look at the next one as well then. Well, we had x divided by 4 equals 2. I don't want to know what a quarter of x is. I want to know what x is by itself. So the easiest way to get one lot of x is to multiply both sides of my equal sign by 4. I want to multiply this by 4 because if I do that, 4 divided by 4 gives me one lot of x's. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. If I've multiplied this side of the left-hand side by 4, I have to do the same thing to the right-hand side. So that now my 1 lot of x equals 2 multiplied by 4, which is 8. It's as though we've moved the 4 to the other side of the equal sign and turned it, instead of a divide, by a multiply. So we've changed the 4 up to the top. So we sort of skip this step again of multiplying through by 4 on the left-hand side. We just remember that when we change sign of the equal sign with a divide, it turns into a multiply on the other side. What about then 4x equals 2? Well, we don't want to know what 4 lots of x are. We want to know what 1 lot of x is. And the way to get 1 lot of x is to divide this side of the equal sign by 4, because we know that 4 divided by 4, again, will give us 1 lot of x. If we divide this side of the equal sign by 4, we have to divide this side by 4. 2 divided by 4 is a half. So what we can see that we've done is, we actually, in the left-hand equation here, we've just skipped this step. We haven't divided both by 4. We've just remembered that when we move this 4 to the other side of the equal sign, it turns into a divide. So these are the basic skills of algebra that are really good to practice. Let's practice a few of these then. We've got 2x plus 4 equals 16. Well, let's try and do it by just moving things to the other side of the equal sign. The first thing we would do is have our 2x. We would move the 4 to the other side, equals 16 minus 4, which equals 12. So we know that 2 lots of x now equals 12. What does 1 lot of x is? Well, we move the 2 to the other side, and here it's multiplied, so on the other side of the equation it will be divide, equals 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So x equals 6. Quick check. If x equals 6, then 2 times 6 would be 12. 12 plus 4 would give us 16. Yes. 2 times 6 plus 4 does equal 16. So we've got a little check there too. Let's try another couple. What about 3x plus 4 equaling 12? Let's have some minuses in here instead. So 3x minus 4 equals 12. Well, we move everything to the other side. We keep the x's on one side, so we'll do nothing there. But we will move the negative 4 over to the other side, equals 12 plus 4. 12 plus 4 is 16. So we know that 3 lots of x equals 16. What does 1 lot of x equal? Well, x equals 16 divided by 3, which is the same as 3's into 16 go 5 times, and 1 left over. 5 and a third, which is the same as 5.3 recurring, which is the same as 5.3 to 1 decimal place with our approximately squarely equal sign. Let's try one with divide then. 3x divided by 7 plus 2 equals 7. What do we do here then? Well, we take the 2 over to the other side, we leave the x by itself first, and get rid of the 2 to the other side, equals 7. The plus 2 moved over to the other side becomes minus 2. So 3x over 7 equals 5. What do we do now? Well, first of all, I'd probably get rid of the 7 down here and move that over to the other side, which would give me that 3x equals, the divide by 7 actually turns into multiply on the other side. 3x equals 5 sevens, which are 35. So we now know that 3 lots of x equal 35. What is 1 lot of x going to equal? Well, we move the 3 to the other side to get up what 1 lot of x is. It was multiplied on this left-hand side of the equation, so it's going to turn into divide when we move it to the other side. Equals 35 divided by 3. 3's into 3 go 1 time, 3's into 5 go 1 time, and 2 left over, so 11 and 2/3. So this is how we can deal with algebra using this quick technique of when we move something to the other side, we actually do the opposite of what it was doing. If it was adding on one side of the equal sign, it turns into a minus on the other. If it was minus on one side of the equal sign, it turns into a positive. If it was divided on the left-hand side of the equal sign, it turns into a negative, into a multiply. If it was multiplied on the left-hand side, it turns into a divide on the other side of the equal sign. So very important skill to remember, and it really quickens up your manipulation with algebra.